Hey guys, it's Doss. I am bringing you the recap from our most recent war against UY, the reigning NDL welterweight champs. This was it was a damn good war. Our nines hit some pretty incredible 65% rates yet again, with many top performances all around. Unfortunately, we didn't land that 10v10. We had a couple 98s and 99s. We even had a 98 11v11. But, unfortunately, we ended up losing just by 1 star. They landed 2 10v10s, but they left a star on a 9, which kind of kept us in the running up until the very end. So it was a very solid performance all around by 11s, 10s, and 9s. Nobody to hang their head. This was a good war for us. We just didn't quite finish, and they did. So congrats to UW. Or UI. What a terrible clan name. But anyway, kind of see, we're just scrolling through. We just kind of had a solid performance from everybody. But you know what? I want to focus on kind of one person. That person I've neglected in so many recaps, and that's Lady Art. She is sort of an amnesia for me. Whenever she six packs, I tend to forget to recap. So you know what? We are going to recap her today. She provided a nice, fresh 9-pack this war. We're going to look at each and every one of those hits. So to start, she's going to bring the most recent Fuck Yo base army in the kind of Town Hall 9 version of the Falcon. It is essentially utter chaos halfway through this attack, so I'll do my best to narrate it. But essentially what she's doing is she's kind of creating a funnel for that AQ, coming in at 7 o'clock, and she's basically sending those baby dragon wizards from 6 to 3, and she has a couple funnel troops behind her BK up there at 9 to really basically funnel her Valks and her AQ and her bowlers into this base. Like I said, it goes from kind of calculated casual to just utter chaos here, as basically rage troops just go flying all around this base. So as you see, she did get her bowlers in. About half the Valks split out on the outside, but that's okay. They're kind of doing work with the BK out there and the wizards to kind of clear out all that trash outside. And you can see in the meantime, the bowlers, with the spell backup, are basically gutting the inside of this base. So despite the fact that half of her main army went outside, she's still just absolutely smashing this damn thing. This army is ridiculous at 10, and it's ridiculous at 9. Lady is historically a witch hitter, so it's pretty awesome to see her branching out on one of the newest armies and actually killing it, doing it at the same time. So kudos to you, Lady. This was a very chaotic hit, but it was absolutely smashed. As far as troop count goes and time, there just was not a lot left of either one. Well, there's actually excessive less. That's totally the polar opposite of what I meant. But anyway, here I get a little bit confused on what our next hit was. I actually go back to the same base. So I'm going to back out real quick and go look at her second hit, another fresh triple. And if I didn't mention, that first one was a fresh triple. So this was a hell of a war for her. So we're going to look at her second hit. This is a witch hit. Kind of a classic Asian witch wall, as we're kind of calling it, which is basically just drop your golems, drop your witches, drop your bowlers, and, pray a little bit. It just kind of comes down to identifying what is the best entrance point and kind of letting Jesus take the wheel from there. So basically she's coming from 6 to 9 yet again on this one, and you see the golems down, tanking for those witches, letting them get the skellies out, with the wizards sprinkled in for additional, kind of firepower. And there's a nice jump in the middle. So, essentially once the funnels are set lightly at 6 and 9, the main portion of the army is supposed to go in. She's pretty fortunate here. The queen actually loops her back around to the core, where it looked like she was going to be bouncing outside like half those bowlers did. But she goes in, and she, behind, the golem is going to be doing work, and same with BK, and the BK's tanking for those bowlers on the outside. So again, a little bit of a hectic hit, but these golems and these tanks do a perfect job of picking up the giant bombs, picking up the point defenses as essentially the DPS comes in behind. So, it wasn't the most picture perfect hit, but each of these troops did their role magnificently, and you'll see just the amount of bowlers, the bowlers paired up with those witches are just crushing the outside of this base. At the same time, the royals are picking off the inside. So, like I said, while it's not ideal, it works out really well. The splash is a little bit too deep in that top section to threaten those walking bowlers by the time essentially the rollers can come in and pick them off. And the result is a fairly simple 3-star, yet again. This was a fresh, like I said, so a nice fresh triple and a fresh 6-pack from her offensively, and I made it a specific point this time to recap that because I've always forgotten. So I apologize, lady, and I hope you enjoy your video. But that's not it. Not only did she contribute a fresh 6-pack, she contributed a fresh 9-pack because she gave up the fresh hit triple as well. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that as well. This was a TDH hit on Lady, and it was an absolute beauty. He essentially identified for pretty minimal troop investment, he can create the funnel for his AQ to basically charge in from 9 o'clock. So with a couple minions down there at 7 to 8, and with the BK and some wizards up at 10 to 11, she basically is able to fairly easily funnel in the AQ to dive for the defending AQ, the AD, the sweepers, and just a lot of this base value from inside that big compartment. You'll see here once these wall breakers come in, if a small bomb had been right there, it would have killed all 4 of those wall breakers. So note to self, lady, maybe move some small bombs over there if you're going to keep this base. And with that wall open and with the BK and the wizards basically creating that funnel at 10 to 11, there's nothing for this AQ to do but just walk straight into this base. With the way the sweepers are positioned, there is no impedance to her doing that. There's no real threat to her at this point. She's going to basically just take what she wants. And once that sweeper comes down and that defending AQ is down, the air phase is fairly straightforward given the fact that the right sweeper is covering a section of the base that you wouldn't likely see the air come in from. So the adjustments need to be made there if we're going to keep the base again. But basically, it's a pretty straightforward air phase from this point. The sweeper's taken out of the equation because the troops are going to come in from behind it. You're just going to be spelling through the second half of this base. Easy rage, gut the core. Couple loons here, and the AQ is still up, just hammering away. She's going to take out that final AD, which is the threat to those loons once the hounds are popped. But she takes care of it. So, it was an impressive war all around. A fresh 9-pack contributed to the final war effort. Helped really contribute to that high-scoring war we had. So, congrats, lady. And, you get to see a little bit of everything. Little Falcon, little witches, little TDH. Lady brought everything to this war, and this recap kind of shows that. So, great job to her. I promise next time she 6-packs, I will not recap her defense as well. And, I'll see if I can get both 6 of her hits in for next time. So, again, appreciate it and see you later.